Dear Admiral, my colleagues, distinguished ambassadors, the scholars, the staff of the Bahria University, which is very dear to our heart, and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Indeed, it's a great pleasure for me to be here. I was just talking with Honorable Rector that I was part of the first International Iqbal Conference last year, but during the COVID circumstances, the gathering was a bit strange. We made it online, and still that was a very lively discussion, and very, very good ideas were around. So I will not be presenting you some academic papers. I think my Indonesian colleague will do that in the name of all of us, because I know that he is very well prepared for this session. We are looking forward to his paper. What I will do is I will just summarize my views, my feelings in just 3 points. First, Iqbal. The name Iqbal is a household name, not only for Pakistan, but also for my country, for Turkey as well. Because honestly, what I should be doing right now is just, repeat his very famous lines about the Ottomans and about their hardship, and I should be just going back to my place. But I will try to do something more. He was an intellectual, being a great poet, the great poet of the East. He was an intellectual, and the distinguishing this part about him was that he feels every problem, every agony that Muslim communities face here and there, he just felt it in his heart. And that pain in his heart made him come across with a lot of very prospective ideas for the future of the Muslim communities, for the future of the Ummah. So that's why I think he is still alive today with his ideas, and his ideas are still there. That is enlightening most of the Muslim communities around the globe. So in that famous lines that he said about the Ottomans, the hardship that the Ottomans were facing, remember he said that a lot of candles should be put off for the light and for the sun to come out. I think on that particular point, he was not only talking about the Ottomans, he was talking about the Muslim Ummah in general, because, as I said, he always carried that pain in his heart that why not there is more interaction, cooperation, coordination between the communities, Muslim communities, within the Ummah. That, I think that was his reason of being. And the second point I would like to mention is that he has a mirror image in Turkey. The name is Mehmet Akif Ersoy. Mehmet Akif Ersoy is the national poet of ours. He is the writer of our national anthem. If you compare those, the Iqbal's ideas and poetry and Akif's poetry, and especially the national anthem, you will see great similarities between those two texts and those two ideas. Akif was also someone who always has problems about the future of the Ummah, about the future of the Muslims, Muslim communities, how to become a more prosperous, standing on our own feet in the wider globe, in the wider community of nations. That was also his, carry forward idea that he, maintained throughout his life. So for my brothers and sisters, the young ones, I sincerely recommend to also take a look at Mehmet Akif Ersoy's life and poetry and see those similarities, with your own eyes. Third and last point is that Iqbal is when you read an Iqbal poetry, the emotions run high. He is the master of the language that I unfortunately cannot, command. I envy him in the sense that, his use of Urdu is just outstanding. And instead of Urdu, being able to only speak to you in English is also a pain in my heart, but I'm sure you will forgive me for that. Yeah, the emotions are there. His poetry is full of emotion. But at the same time, the idea, the rational part of, the approach to the current civilization, matters of humanity, science, technology, the breakthrough, how to achieve that certain level of, breakthrough by the Muslims. It is also very, a central part of his poetry. So, as the package, as a total, he will be always there, not only in Pakistan or in Pakistani hearts and minds. He will also be a guiding light for the rest of the Muslim intellectuals for the days and years to come. So with these words, once again, I would like to thank the Bahria University, starting with the rector brother, for organizing this event and inviting me to address to you. It was a great pleasure. I thank you for your attention. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for gracing us with your wonderful address and presence, Your Excellency. Now I request guest of honor, Ambassador of Republic of Uzbekistan, His Excellency, Mr. Obek Arif Usmanov, to address this session.
Dear Vice Admiral Kalim Shaukatsab, Vice Chancellor of Bahria University, Excellencies, Ambassadors, prominent experts, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah that today is representing Uzbekistan. It's my third time being in your great university and addressing your audience. And I'm very grateful that today, on the day of the celebration of a great thinker, philosopher, Allama Iqbal Sahab, you also invited to Uzbekistan to your international conference. And I do express my great thanks for the leadership of Bahria University for arrangement, such an excellent arrangement of that international conference. It's the second one. And hopefully that we're very hopeful that every year Uzbekistan and Pakistan will be joining hands together to celebrate such a thinker and philosopher like Allama Iqbal, inshallah. Allama Iqbal's legacy is very highly respected in Uzbekistan because his poetry, especially Payam Mashriq, is the well known with the great manifestation of his historical meaning, love to the Islam, love to the Islam Ummah, love to the all peoples and nations of Asia. He is definitely the personality who had created the precondition for establishment and strengthening our relations, partnership in the new era between the areas and regions of Central Asia and South Asia. We consider in Uzbekistan Allama Iqbal's legacy as the common legacy. in line with such great thinkers like Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, like Zahruddin Baburs, Ali Sher Nawai is the founder of the Uzbek language of Uzbekistan as a Sufi poet and statesman. Abdurrahman Jami, Mirza Ghalib, Khushkhal Khan Baba, and Rahman Baba. All of them, they are great thinkers, poets, statesmen, warriors in Sufi saints for Uzbekistan. Yes, we have already heard in the first part of inaugural session how big was the contribution input, enormous contribution of Allama Iqbal to the development of ideas of the peace, freedom, and humanism and friendship. But in Uzbekistan, we consider Allama Iqbal's philosophy and his strategical multi-dimensional vision as the strong fundament, basis for the connectivity. In July this year, by initiative of President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, we had a very successful South Asia and Central Asia regional connectivity conference where Honorable Prime Minister Imran Khan Saab was visiting, and many of your teachers, vice chancellors, been also invited to that great event, and we together shared the strategy of connectivity of the Muslim Ummah for the sake of development of economy, social economic development, investment, transport, logistics, trade, culture, education, connectivity between our two regions. The Allama Iqbal's legacy, as I mentioned, is very highly respected in Uzbekistan. We have a street by the name of Allama Iqbal's in the very ancient city of Bukhara. And his street is crossing the street of Ali Sher Nawai, a greatest poet of Uzbekistan. And Bukhara State University is located in the street of Allama Iqbal. And Allama Iqbal's poetry also is the part of the education program in two prominent universities of Uzbekistan. In Tashkent State University, which I belong to, I was one of the students of that university, and also in the Samarkand State University, where his poetry, legacy, and activities has been as the part of the curriculum for the students. So, with these short words of recognition and respect from my side, from the Uzbekistan to great Allama Iqbal, let me thank again the Vice Chancellor of the Bahria University and Rear Admiral Najimus Saqib Khan Saab, and director of this conference, my dear friend, Professor Adam Saud Saab, for giving me this exceptional honor and opportunity to speak on that second international conference of Muhammad Iqbal's legacy. Hope that next time we can do it with this, next time these kind of events we can do with the strong presence of our Uzbek teachers and scientists and the students, inshallah. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for gracing us with such thoughtful address. Now I request Guest of Honor, Ambassador of Republic of Azerbaijan, His Excellency Khazar Farhadov, to address this session.
Honorable Rector, Bahria University, Your Excellencies, respected guests, faculty members, dear students. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. First of all, I would like to congratulate Bahria University for successfully organizing such an important event and I extend my gratitude for the invitation to participate. This is a very special occasion for us as we have gathered to celebrate 144th birthday of the great poet of the East, Allama Muhammad Iqbal. I pay rich tribute to the great thinker, philosopher, and poet Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Ladies and gentlemen, Iqbal's poetry is popular, I think, because of its message and elegance. It is relevant to the past, now, and the future. He doesn't only belong to the subcontinent, but to the whole Islamic world. Iqbal has addressed to all the issues of the present Muslim Ummah, has enumerated the reasons behind these shortcomings, and has prescribed effective treatment for these ailments. He led the Muslims at every step. Iqbal considered Islam a complete of life. He clarified the glorious image of the Muslim Ummah. He produced a large number of poems which indicate his immense love for his homeland. Iqbal performed as an advocate of humanism, global peace, and cordial relations between East and West based on peaceful and tolerant values. He awakened the Muslims' material, spiritual development in the 20th century. Muhammad Iqbal acted as a poet, philosopher, lawyer, teacher, illuminator, and reformer. The human factor is the main subject of Mr. Iqbal's thinking. The poet-thinker perceived Islamic society as well as human pride as the centrifugal force of the whole world and considered creative and moral relations as an important factor in solving the problems of human society. We all wish that the teachings of the state is popularized among the population of Muslim countries, and academia take up research to develop recommendations for the practical implementation of his teachings in our societies. Literary and philosophical works of Muhammad Iqbal, who has deep knowledge of Quran, is welcomed in Azerbaijan, and his literary heritage is still being studied by Azerbaijani researchers. As a renowned philosopher, his globally valued ideology was highly appreciated all around the Muslim world, as well as in the academic circles in Azerbaijan. Some pieces, as well as Homeland by Muhammad Iqbal, were translated into Azerbaijani even in the mid-20th century during Soviet Union. Certainly, from the 20th century on, his poems and philosophical pieces are being translated into Azerbaijani. In the 21st century, studies on Muhammad Iqbal's works involve almost translation of Mr. Iqbal's works into Azerbaijani. Further studies of Iqbal's literary works, particularly his poems, studies on his philosophical and religious views. The Institute of Literature, named after Nizami Ganjavi of Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences, and the Writers' Union of Azerbaijan have published selected works of the prominent Pakistani poet Muhammad Iqbal. The book includes translation of poems by Pakistani poet Muhammad Iqbal written in Urdu and Persian. These poems are mainly selections from the author's books, which is The Voice of Bahria, Message of the East, Kurtuba Möskü, Bandangin Mana, Yeni Gülşan Vaz. And also this year, at the initiative of the World Turkish Academy, Muhammad Iqbal's book, Reconstruction of Islamic Thoughts, was translated into Azerbaijani and published. In conclusion, once again, I congratulate Bahria University for organizing such an important event, and I thank them for inviting me in this prestigious conference. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your kind remarks upon Iqbal's work. Now I request Guest of Honor, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency, Mr. Adam Mulverman Togio, to please come forth and address this session.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Senator Walid Iqbal, dear Vice Admiral Retired Kalm Saukat, the Vice Director of Bahria University, ambassadors, good friend of mine, the excellencies and also distinguished guests, and dear students, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Certainly it is indeed an honor for me to be invited here to participate in a days to celebrate the life of Muhammad Iqbal. Being the last speaker, certainly, it's a huge challenge for me because many already been addressed by previous speaker on the importance of the works of Allama Iqbal and how Allama Iqbal, through his works, influenced the Muslim world. Like all the great masterpieces of literary work, it is through poetry that the works of Allama Iqbal was introduced in Indonesia. It was in 1933 that one of these, the book was translated into Indonesia, The Incense of the Orient. So it was a long, long time ago. But I think one of another book which is very important, and Honorable President Dr. Alfi mentions about the book of reconstructions of religious thought in Islam was then, introduced in Indonesia, translated into Indonesia by a group of young intellectuals at that time, which nowadays also still being active in promoting some of the notions being introduced by Allama Iqbal. So I think with those and with several references that already been made by my colleague, it's once again a testament that in terms of the Allama Iqbal's global influence, Southeast Asia is no exception. The popularity of Allama Iqbal in Indonesia is an evidence of its powerful message of self-realization, peace, and spiritual awakening. The impact of his works on the Islamic revivalism in Indonesia, it is not, once again, it's not limited in the literatures, but also in politics and others in the Muslim thought. In celebrating Allama Iqbal's life today, let me briefly underscore some of the notable influence of his work to Indonesian Muslim society. First, his appeal for reformation of the Muslim mind. I think this is one of the key messages that he kept mentioning throughout his work. Iqbal poetry, with its message of dynamism and modernity, resonates with the Muslims in Indonesia. It urges them to be creative in facing contemporary challenges of life under the guidance of the teachings of Quran. The message attracts Muslim intellectuals in Indonesia to participate in this course, to revive the true spirit of religions in Indonesia society. We can then easily find that Allama Iqbal thinkings become reference in the debate in Indonesia, the debate by young scholars, Muslim scholars in Indonesia, which nowadays also still, you can see many of the Iqbal theses become one of the subjects in the university, Islamic studies in Indonesia. Many studies theses have been written by Indonesian students to dissect and to understand the works of Iqbal, such as the Qudi, Islamic Renaissance, and the awakenings of Ummah from its deep slumber toward realizing the demand of the modern world. The second impact, the introductions of science and technology into educations of madrasa. I think the theme for today's discussions once again reminding us about the importance of the Islamic community to embrace science and technology. This is the ones that now is also being introduced in Indonesia. Iqbal considers education as the most effective means of bringing about a Muslim reawakening. The message of exploring the universe and quest for knowledge in the Holy Quran, Iqra, was the driving force in encouraging the Muslims to go into science and research. Nowadays, non-Islamic subjects are taught in the curriculums of more than 80,000 madrasah in Indonesia. The reason is simple, because not all graduates can become a religious leader. Most of the majority of them probably have to compete with other graduate alumni of secular school or other schools. In the end, we believe that modernizations of Islamic education system is necessity to make the syllabus competitive to the present day's challenges and to equip the students with modern skills. Introducing science and technology, therefore, would allow students to fairly compete with graduates or of secular schools in finding jobs or to pursue degree of higher learning institutions. In Indonesia, madrasah, the alumni of madrasah, they can also enroll to different departments of the university, not only for the students, the study for Islam or the studies of the Quran. So there's provide ample opportunity for them also to compete with other students in enrolling to the university. Simultaneously, the curriculum reform in madrasah encourage students also to respect diversity and practical local wisdom on the implementations of sunnah in a different part of the world. I remember Allama Iqbal once mentions that as part of his devotion and his love to the Prophet Muhammad, Rasulullah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions, looking at the flower, I think there's a lot of flowers, a rose flower here. He mentions, we, Muslim society, is like a rose with many petals, but with one perfumes. He is the soul of the society, and he is the one. The Muslim society, like the petal, you see the petals of rose, they might have different form, they might have different size, but all roses, they have one perfume. Roses in Pakistan, I believe the same like roses in Indonesia. They have the same perfume, the perfumes of rose. That is the Islam that's Allama Iqbal reminded us to also, once again, to look at the practical local wisdom in the implementations of the Sunnah. And I think one of the key messages of Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal teachings also to encourage us to use critical thinking in trying to, once again, to implement the Sunnah. Now, additionally, and the civil society in Indonesia, two biggest of the civil society, Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah, inspired by the work of Muslim leaders or Muslim thinkers, among other Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, plays also important roles in promoting moderations in tolerance in Islam through madrasah under their respective management. Additionally, we also undertook several different approaches, what I called inverted approach, whereby the government adding the Islamic curricula into the school, like an extra curriculum exercise, whereby we add like 4 years for the students to once again introduce them with the Islamic teaching, Islamic knowledge, with the hope to build strong foundations of Islamic values in students' character. I believe this is in line with the consistent message of Iqbal poetry, whereby he reminds us to continue to develop ability of dreaming big and police noble moral values such as tolerance, self-potential development. And third impact of Muhammad Iqbal works in Indonesia also inspired the prophetic social science in Indonesia. The modern reformist thought of Allama Iqbal have inspired a significant numbers of Muslim intellectual Indonesia in finding middle course in the midst of the debate between Western secular social science and Islamic social science. One of the leading historians of Indonesia, Kunto Wijoyo, once offered a critical formula of the social science to build bridge between secular social science and Islamic inclinations of social science. It followed the spirit of Iqbal message, not to sit idle and to keep searching the pragmatic solution of the contemporary world with a modern approach. Distinguished guests, to conclude, I would like to say that here, especially to the youth, both in Pakistan and in Indonesia, that when we truly realize our true potential, become more knowledgeable and ready to break new ground, then we would be able to uplift our present stature and to face the challenges of Ummah effectively. Let's work together to achieve these goals by following the visions of the great poet, philosopher, Muhammad Iqbal for a better, prosperous future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing your kind views on Iqbal's poetry and work. Now I request the conference chair, Sergeant Rear Admiral Najmus Saqib Khan, Halal Imtiaz Military, Tamgha Basalat, to please come forward and present the vote of thanks.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. Honorable Vice Admiral Kaleem Shaukat, Hilal Imtiaz Military, Rector Bahria University, His Excellency Mr. Ihsan Mustafa Yerdakul, Ambassador of Turkey, His Excellency Obek Arif Usmanov, Ambassador of the Uzbekistan, His Excellency Mr. Khazar Farhadov, Ambassador of Azerbaijan, His Excellency Mr. Adam Malur Togyo, Ambassador of the Indonesia, Her Excellency Hamanai Karim Zakai, representative of the Ambassador of Iran, distinguished guests, faculty members, and my dear students, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. Ever since the creation of the world, billions and billions of men and women have appeared, played their apportioned role, and quitted this stage forever. As the process of evolution is going on in this world, in the likewise manner, few human beings, personalities, and the legends who left their prints for the next generations. Iqbal is one of them. As we draw the curtain on this important international conference of Allama Muhammad Iqbal, I would like to express my profound thanks to all participants in making this event a success. A success because we have been able to make an effective call, engage the audience, and promote the teaching and philosophy of Allama Muhammad Iqbal in many ways. The input shared by the participants is absolutely valuable and provide an exceptional framework for exploration and incorporation of Iqbal's much admired teaching in our lives and society at large. Ladies and gentlemen, knowing that much has already been said in this regard to Iqbal's teaching, its relevance, and the dire need for adoption of his principles in our lives today, I would not take much of time, but would like to briefly touch upon few important lessons from his poetry. I take Iqbal's teaching as a great source of inspiration for Muslims as it portrays glory, unity, and of course the intellect. He calls the Muslim Ummah to standing up to the challenges of the time and lead the world in all fields of life, especially science, technology, and research. I truly admire his emphasis on self-realization and encouragement of youth to put themselves to the test. What really inspires me is the beauty of the fact that his teaching and political ideology stand relevant to the day. As each of us can relate to his teaching for inspiration, motivation, and of course the guidance regardless of our age, intellect, color, and race. He was undoubtedly a powerful symbol of unity and a common intellectual legacy. In the end, I would thank all the Honorable Excellencies and dignitaries for their valuable time and participation in this conference. I would also like to thank all the participants and delegates for their gracious presence and, of course, the contribution. I must appreciate the organizing team for their efforts and a great hard work towards holding a success event. I am hopeful that we will be able to translate recommendations of this conference into meaningful actions and continue our efforts in this regard. I would end with few verses of Iqbal. यही आईन कुदरत है, यही असलूब फितरत है, जो है राह अमल में गामजन महबूब फितरत है। मिल्लत के साथ राबता इस्तवार रख, पैवस्ता रह, शजर से उम्मीद बहार रख। Thank you very much and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. And now I request Rector Bahria University, Vice Admiral Kaleem Shaukat, Halal Imtiaz Military, and Surgeon Rear Admiral Najmus Saqib Khan, Halal Imtiaz Military, and Tamgha Basalat for the group and memento presentation. His Excellency Ehsan Mustafa Yartagul, Ambassador of Republic of Turkey. His Excellency Obek Arif Osmanov, Ambassador of Republic of Uzbekistan. His Excellency Khazar Farhadov, Ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan. His Excellency Adam Mulverman Togio, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia. Her Excellency Hamane Karim Kia, representative of Islamic Republic of Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our opening session. On behalf of Bahria University Islamabad campus, I thank everyone for their presence, attention, and time. I'm extremely indebted to the distinguished guests whose presence made this session exalted. Thank you very much.